Hello again, my friends, and you are my friends, and welcome to your Monday Night's Talking Town Extra Time. I'm, of course, your host, the Gov, sat here on a Monday night. We are now 23 hours and 13 minutes away from the big kickoff tomorrow. Not that I'm counting down or anything. Who am I kidding? Of course I'm counting down. Buzzing with a capital B, U-double-Z-I-N-G. I am buzzing. But first of all, we'll look back at Posh at the weekend, a 3-0, a comprehensive, comfortable 3-0 win. We'll throw some Barnsley thoughts in there and anywhere else that we go on this Monday night. As always, we can't do any of these shows without you, the wonderful people at home, getting involved, hitting the live link that will be there shortly, and also getting involved in the chat as Mike Baker has done. Good evening, Mr. Baker up the town. Mark Rattle is here. James Beaumont upper town. Love that. Colin Plum. Mike's already gone 3-1 for a town win. Lee Brands is evening everyone 3 points incoming at Oakwell. Ashley, can't wait for tomorrow. Be training up to Barnsley in the morning. Bluey, evening all. Are we nervous for Tuesday? I don't think we should be. I believe a draw is the least we will get. Oh, I like this one. Osvaldo Blue. What's that? What's that smell? Oh, it smells like the championship. Oh, cheeky Osvaldo Blue. I do like a bit of cheekiness on a Monday night. Right, before we head into proceedings, let's come across my proverbial social media desk this morning on Facebook. It comes from our friends at the Wrath of the Barclay. We all know that site very well. I wouldn't normally do it, but it's just a delightful thing to do on a Monday night. I couldn't resist. I want to play some music in the background, just because I feel like it needs a bit of the atmosphere building for this one, because it is a lovely message that came across us on social media. It's titled, I am already dreading the 2 games against the CUM next season. So anytime that starts, you know I'm going to read it. Here we go. Now, this is something that Shakespeare would be very, very proud of. We know how this goes. We, I think he means Norwich, are the fat, bloated, directionless club that has no idea what it's doing or why, and players that either have one eye on the exit door or slipping into retirement without getting injured, as there is now no hope of achieving anything. They, I think he means us, are the young, hungry upstarts used to winning and full of desire for more. They're going to rip into us like a pack of hyenas. That's a killer line. And we are going to fold like a badly erected deck chair under the slightest pressure. Unless something really drastic happens in the summer, we are going to be on the receiving end of 2 almighty humpings. Isn't that just a beautiful way to start your Monday evening, my friends? Music to my ears. Rob Holmes is either Norwich fan at work and they are proper rattled about us next season. They are falling apart and genuinely think we'll batter them. Stephen loves it, not as much as I loved it. Shakespeare will be very proud of that message, and I am incredibly excited, hopefully, to get there. We've got to get there first, though, otherwise it means absolutely diddly squit. Now, there's been lots of talk about paywalls recently. We're not behind a paywall yet, but you can become a part of the Talking Town 5th Stand community, the backbone of the platform, by hitting the join button on YouTube or heading to our Ko-Fi site. You can cancel at any point. It works out about £1.25 a week. You get all the content. You get access to the Discord. You get, the Cruncher service alone is probably worth millions upon trillions. He hasn't monetized that yet. Wait for it. But yeah, no, in all truthful, you can support the platform if you should so wish to. Hit the link in the chat. John says, lowest off Blues got a good reception at Norwich train station on our way home. I saw the video. It was cheeky. I like a bit of cheekiness on a Monday night. Right, we've got Match Bingo's resident expert here. So I'm going to hit the advert, and then I'm going to ask him, can we play the free bingos tomorrow, Tuesday night? We?
All right. No.
Oh no!
No, so it's not for the one to try and but for BINGOALS to work, we need enough teams playing and kicking off at the same time to make it
Fair
fair.
enough.
Like
How many are
there's
playing?
only,
Not many, are there?
Yeah, not very many. So Saturday this week, funny you should mention it, but Saturday this week is the last one we can run for the season because there's not enough games for the remainder of the EPL either. The normal game will keep running, but if you want to play for free, this Saturday is your last chance.
There you go. If you want to play for free, Saturday's the last chance. Sign up, get active. Link in the description. Hit that link because then George knows you've come from here, and we're going to get more money. We don't get more loot, but it just helps me to say, look, Talking Town is this magnificent tool, and it is. George, talking of magnificent tools, Norwich City, the Wrath of the Barclay. What a way to start a Monday evening. Come on, that was Shakespearean in the way it was written. A pack of hyenas, Mr. Man.
Well, for starters, with the Arizona link, I'd have preferred coyotes, but lazy, isn't it? I don't want to get cocky yet. Come on,
we ain't doing nothing. It was them. It was them.
But you're looking for me to, yeah. I think I said to you when you sent it to me this morning. Assuming all goes the way that we hope it will over the next few weeks. I look forward to this summer. Let's put it that way.
Yeah, me too. Jody, one of our YouTube members, says I had a gap match at the weekend. Didn't win, but was good fun. There you go. Be gamble aware, over 18s only, but good to see you playing, Jody. I know Jacob won some money on the cricket the other week. Would you have won some money on Saturday's game, George? Not from Match Bingo, perhaps, but from your own personal perspective, because were you confident going into Posh? Were you as confident as the scoreline ended up reflecting?
No, I wasn't. I was. You're going to be surprised. I was kind of just on the fence. I didn't know what. I was totally. I'm so nervous, as you can probably tell from the fact that I can't speak. I was convinced that we weren't going to get too much out of it, but then I kept sort of having feelings that, and I actually put money on 3-1 in the end. So
I said 3-1.
I wasn't far off, but I didn't really think that was going to happen. So yeah, I was sort of expecting a score draw. I think I can't remember what I said last week now, but
you did. You were expecting a 1-1 draw. I thought 3-1 as well. Funny that Colin said 3-0. Bang on the money was our go. If you're nervous now, George, just to leave you a little update, 23 hours and 6 minutes now we are away from kickoff. I'll be doing that all night long. I'll be refreshing it at 3 a.m. with the night feed saying, "Oh, it's changed like New Year's Eve." It's like we all know it's there. We just all got to get to it. Gareth says, "How do we keep a lid on the excitement?" Asking for a friend. Good evening, Crunch. I hope you're well. £5 from Finch's Rest Cemetery. Come on, you beautiful blues. Love that. Love it. Going to drop a link now. Welcome your participation. Who stood out from Posh? Who were your standout players from Saturday before we sort of shift the focus to Barnsley away, that little team in Yorkshire? I'm going to get them all in tonight. Okay, why not? My boys are confident. They're probably more confident, George, than us fans are.
Yes. Yeah, I think it's weird, isn't it? Like we've gone through the phase of us sort of bemoaning the players not looking like they're up for it, or whatever it might be that we've said in previous seasons, and even arguably earlier this season. And now I think looking back at I watched the Town in 5 before coming on, and
what's that?
The noticeable thing for me before the game was just they were all so steely faced and focused on the game at hand, and they just look confident, which is great. And it's not that I'm not confident; I'm just nervous. And it's at this point they could probably looks like they could teach me a thing or two about keeping my head. So they look like they've got a handle on it, and that's the main thing.
Is it, before we bring in, we've got Stephen Parry waiting, we've got Phil Blundell, two knowledgeable guys in the footballing field, stand-up performers. Is this where, I'm going to say Yellow Shoes because his name suddenly escapes me, earns his money, George? Is this where the real big money is earned as a
sports psychologist or whatever you want to
very much?
I think, Kevin Mincher, isn't it? I'm still not sure if he's about. I haven't been looking for him at home games, so I'm not sure if he is still about. But I think, it's where he or whoever else is doing it, and the ramifications of what they have done, it comes into sharp focus. Like this is when being able to to keep your mindset focused and stay on track and not think too far ahead and not worry too much about what might be going on elsewhere and not worry too much about the crowd chanting we're top of the league, and all of that, like not conceding a goal and not being concerned about it, all of those things that over the last few months, but the closer you get to the end of the season, the more impressive it becomes from my perspective. Like they just seem to be holding their nerve, and whatever it is that someone has done with them or said to them or they've said done to them for themselves is working, and long may it continue.
Now, you played a huge part in getting me there on Saturday, and I can't thank you enough for doing that. And you mentioned the top of the league chant there. That sort of rippled around the stand behind the goal for a brief moment on Saturday, and then suddenly got met with a load of "shut the up, stop singing," and then it sort of died itself down a little bit. And maybe the fans in the stands are starting to feel that that's an omen every time that's.
It still didn't make any difference. So.
No, it didn't. No. They literally are a team that won't disappear, won't go away, won't quit, won't give in. There's almost Paul Lambert's Norwich, 96th minute, they're getting their goals. But we're doing our business and we're looking after ourselves. So before bringing Steve, one stand-up performer from yourself against Posh. Are you going to go for the obvious low-hanging fruit? Or are you
no, so you asked me for three, and I came up with three, but I'm going to give you the one that will probably lead on to another conversation, but probably the least obvious one, and that's the Dapo. Because I think he came in and did exactly what I talked about last week. So what him being his strength, and not only that, but he's also scored a phenomenal goal. So as much as other people are going to mention other people, and I'm not suggesting man of the match, I'm just saying as a stand-up performer, what we talked about last week in terms of his role and Hurst's role, where I thought he plays his best at the moment for us, how he influences the game best for us at the moment. For me, I'm going to give an honourable mention to Freddie the Dapo.
Big Freddie, who, if he didn't score that goal at the end, deserved the penalty because the bloke was literally mad.
And this isn't just about the goal. I just thought, he did his job phenomenally well.
I like that. I've got a £5 super chat from Sharon Guest. Thank you very much, Sharon. Appreciate that £5. Blue Heaven, we all want the win, but if it offered a draw now, I would take it. And our friend Frank, being Frank on Ipswich Town, my voice score prediction for tomorrow is 2-2, and I would gladly take that. Freddie Dapo, quietly putting together a great little season, Mr. Parry.
He is, but didn't we all say a long time ago when he signed? Yeah, he was uninspiring. He wasn't the great, he wasn't the signing everybody was expecting, but he was a good player. He can do the business here in this league. And he had to adjust to a new system because he'd gone from playing two up front to one up front. That was going to take time and everybody was getting on his back. But he's proving now that he's a very useful player. I still think he could do a job as a backup in the Championship. I'm not in any, if we sign Hurst right now for first season, I know there's people going, oh, well, Adam Armstrong and things like that. Alan Armstrong. I'm not in any particular rush to run out and sign a striker right now if we sign Hurst. I'm really not. Maybe in January we might have to revisit that. I don't know. But I think they could compete in the position that they play. Both of them could. They both got physicality. I think Hurst has got a little bit more about him to start, but Freddie's a very dangerous player coming on from the bench. And if you look at most Championship teams, not many of them have got, barring the parachute teams, not many of them have got a striker who's had 10 goals in the Championship can come off the bench. If they've got 10 goals in the Championship, most of the sides, they're playing in the first team. Right now, I wouldn't be rushing. Like I said, I may be wrong. Yeah, they might already have people identified. I'm saying that wouldn't be my priority. But I like Freddie. I always have. I said right when we signed him, he was a good signing. I still didn't think, and I said this back in the summer. I don't think he was signed as the first choice. I think he was signed as the second choice, and I would assume January's proved that point. And I think this is what Kieran wanted all along: Hurst to be that, pressing guy at the front, and Ladapo to come on his back. But it didn't happen, so we had to go half a season with Freddie, and he did not let anybody down in any way, shape, or form. But now I think since January, we've gone to this. Freddie seems to have improved. Hurst is doing what he's doing, and the whole team seems to have improved. So nobody can say that if we had this in the summer, would we be romping it? You could probably argue yes, because this is what we wanted in the summer. We just didn't get it.
No, yeah, fair point. And it's a nice little 1-2 punch we've got going on, isn't it, Stephen? With Hurst really running himself into the ground, bullying the centre halves, and then Big Fred coming on and having the finesse that he's got. And he's a real natural finisher as well, Freddie, around the box. Like Saturday's goal, Stephen, as George was saying, he takes it so well, and it's an instinctive finish again from him.
He had no space, did he? There was a player in front of him, there was a player behind him, and there must have been like a foot he could get his leg across. And God, he's not got this small, is he? I couldn't get my leg up there in a foot, And he had a split second to make that move, and he did it. He just knew what he was going to do before he even did it, and he just did it, and it went in. Keeper was never going to. He wasn't expecting to shoot from there, because I don't think anybody was expecting him to shoot from there. So if he got it on target, it was a good chance it was going to go in, because I don't think keeper would have seen it. But no, he is a wonderful player, and he is an instinctive striker. Richard said this ages ago. A lot of his goals come from 6-yard box. Hurst he's that upgrade on Norwood we wanted. The guy who's a bit physical, bit of rough and tumble, but he's got more pace than Norwood. The guy who can lead the press. We'll see tomorrow. Hurst leads our press. Norwood leads Barnsley's press. The difference between Hurst and Norwood is Hurst has got more pace than Norwood, and that was what we needed. We needed more pace. Norwood was fine as a press, but he wasn't fast enough to do the press. He couldn't have kept up with the likes of Burns or Leif Davis on the wing, where Hurst can, and that's why we needed to change in that direction. Will it turn out that he scores? Norwood might score tomorrow. No, I think he's more likely to get a red card, but that's just me. But I don't fear tomorrow. I'm not concerned about tomorrow. I think Saturday was the hardest game, and I'll say that till we die in there. If we'd have lost Saturday, we could have been under some serious. They would have made tomorrow's game, must win.
It's a fair point.
Now it's just must not lose. Because everyone's been going, we've got the hardest running, and I understand that, but we're still the form side, even though we've got the hardest running. So if you look at after Barnsley, who's got the hardest running then? Well, we've got the easiest. Wednesday's got Derby, who were fighting for it, and they've got Shrewsbury. Barnsley's got Peterborough, who were fighting for it, and somebody else. We've got two teams who can't do anything. They'll still give us a game, but they're not playing for anything. Both Wednesday and Barnsley are playing at least one team who's fighting for something.
Good point. Good point.
So I look at it as tomorrow's. I don't. People have said it's a free. I'm not saying that. I want to win. I want to win tomorrow. I want to win tomorrow, and I want to put it to bed on Saturday. Get it to bed on Saturday. Hopefully, the owners can come over Saturday, and then everybody can celebrate with the players, and then everybody goes to Fleetwood and has a party. Maybe we can win the title. I said I'm not bothered about the title. I'm just bothered about going up. Yeah.
Okay. One performer from you, Steve, that stood out on Saturday before we bring Phil Blundell in.
On Saturday, first off, I want to say that was a fantastic performance. For me, that's one of the best performances I've seen, because Peterborough as a team, we've never beaten at Peterborough. All these tropes would have been coming in saying we've never beaten them there.
And I was there.
Johnson Clark carries is the bee's knees. We all want to buy him. Yeah. Now everybody's saying, well, whose pockets he just fell out of.
I'd still buy him.
I wouldn't. There's way better than him. I can tell you that now. And at 27, there's just no money in him. For the amount you'll pay for him, there's no money in him. That's
25 goals in him, though, Steve. That's what I'm really interested in.
Yeah, but not more. We're Reading. How many goals did he have in the Championship? 6?
12, I think. I want to say 12. You'd be right.
That's not enough for us. Ladapo had 10, and we've already got him. We don't have to pay anything.
Look, he's selected now. It's not good enough for us.
No, it's not. Hey, look, I was the one who was on about what's his name? Not weird guy. Many moons ago. But I know,
Alex Gilead.
That's the one. I know where we are now. Yeah, and I recognise where we are. I don't want to turn into one of those fanboys that say we want to spend 10 million. We want to spend no. I want to sense. I don't. No. Throw the ball. Throw it in the world. Go on. Spend it all. I would be quite happy for us to keep going what we're doing, finding targeted young players who we can, maybe in a year or two's time, we sell Broadhead for 15, 20 million. Yeah. that money then, everybody said we've spent a lot of money. It's because we've front loaded it. We sell one player for 20 million. All the money we spent's gone. We've got that money back. And we've still got money to invest. That's where we need to go. That's the reason why people say, oh, you've spent loads of money. Yeah, because you always have to spend money to front load it. Yeah. And only once you start selling people do you say whether you're actually sustainable or not. You look at Brighton, look at even Peterborough. When they bought Ivan Toney, they spent $1 million on him. Yeah. So they front loaded £1 million and then they sold him for 10. So they made a profit on him. But they still had to spend it first. And that's what annoys me when people say we're buying the league.
Does it annoy you, Steve?
It does.
Why?
Because I see teams like, when people say you're buying the league, I see clubs like United, Man City, yeah, who everybody knows 30 years ago, Man City, they were lucky at Phil Main Road, yeah. That's buying the league. They've been in court for the last 10 years for spending too much. The only reason that's still in court is because they've got better lawyers than the Premier League. Everyone knows they broke law and they'll end up with like a £50,000 fine or something, but no one's got the balls to do anything about it.
Views are your own, not the network. Because my visitors certainly aren't any good.
I bet it's the views of virtually everybody outside Manchester City.
Ain't the views of me on my legal team.
All I'm saying,
nobody's got pockets big enough, Steve.
All right,
Stop writing checks I can't cash.
The views are my own. All right, I'll take that one. I'll take that hit. But that's, and Derby, when they were spending loads of money, that's trying to buy the league. We're not doing that. We're doing sensible recruiting and we're spending £1 million here, maybe 2 million there on players who've got long-term sustainable value. Clark at 23, Broadhead at 24. If we bring in Hurst, he's 24. These players have got 6, 7, 8 years left in them. There's going to be value for at least 6 to 8 years. So, that to me is not buying the league. That's investing. That's what every company does. They speculate and invest to accumulate, and that's all we're doing. Okay. And I have no problem in doing that. I just don't like the buying the league thing, because if every other club had the same resources we have, every other fan would be wanting to do the same. But they say it because they can't do it and they don't like it. Like I was saying it when Derby were doing it. I didn't like it then either. Yeah. So I am a hypocrite, but I admit I'm a hypocrite. But I don't want us to do what Derby did and spend £5 million on this player who may not have any value in the end. I would rather go for the targeted players. But for me, man of the match, and I'll give you an odd one. Well, it's not an odd one. I just thought I'll give you two. I think they were both quality, Morsey and Luongo. Any ball that went from their defence to try and get to their attack, snuffed out like that. And even Ball, when he came on, he had an excellent game.
He looked really good.
I thought he came on and he slid in there and took Luongo's job and just like he hadn't gone off. Every ball that went through to try to get to Johnson Clark Harris was just snuffed out, and we went back on attack. So I'll give it to central midfield.
Perfect. Stephen, a pleasure talking to football with you as always, my man. Look after yourself. Steve makes a good point there, because many people are upset about the, buying the league, sort of things that sort of are thrown at town. Are you another fan that's like Steve, a bit bothered by it, or are you not at all?
No, I don't care. I don't care.
All right, okay.
None of those people that are bothered by it would turn it down if it was offered to their club. And
absolutely.
But at the same time, I think Steve's right. I don't see any change in tactics from a recruitment perspective, but the sums that we talk about will inevitably go up, because there is a caliber difference in terms of I've got no complaints over the quality of players that we've brought in this year, but we will be able to convince that extra person that we might not have been able to convince to drop down to League One. Those kids from Premier League clubs that see us doing all right and see the run of form that we've been on. And again, this is all wishful thinking still at this point, but those ones will cost in and around the same amounts of money that we've been spending, but potentially more. And also, we're going to get stung more, aren't we? Like, we're going to be a Championship club, not a League One club. So let's not pretend that doesn't come into it when,
of course,
when negotiating. So I think the numbers will go up, but I don't see the sort of approach changing. I just think we probably will end up. This isn't about saying, I want us to spend 10 million or 15 million. I just think naturally those are the sorts of numbers that we'll be talking about this time next year. If we're in the Championship next season, come this time next season, those are the sorts of figures over 2 transfer windows that I would imagine that we'll be talking about. I might be way off.
Yeah, I whenever I hear a fan or fans or people sort of whinging about Town buying the league, all I hear is, why not my club? Why not my club? Why not my club? Like we've sat through the decades of I'm going to call it austerity under the previous regime, where we're hoping a free transfer works out. We're hoping the injury play star in his last twilight days is going to be refined some form from somewhere. We've sat through that. We've taken our lumps, we've taken our medicine, we've seen the other teams that, Stephen mentioned a couple of them there, and thought, if only we could do that, if only our club had that type of resources. And now it's our turn to be the club that has the resource, and it only gets you so far, money, and money can't buy everything.
Yeah, I mean, let's also not just make this about money, because we know that clubs throw.
It makes it easier.
Yes, no. I'm not saying that I'm not grateful for the money, or that it's not made a difference. But there's a big part of the process and the people in charge of the process. Like, we've wasted some money on some shit in the last 20 years. We've had resources at times, and we have wasted some money on some shit. Like let's just label it what it is, right? And we're not doing that now. We're spending money, but we're spending money well. Like, where we've spent the money this season, no one that's complaining at our level, and at some clubs a level up from us, I suspect, would turn down any of those players for the sorts of money that we paid for them.
Absolutely, yeah.
And that's what it comes down to. It's not about just throwing £1 million here, £2 million there. It's about where we've thrown it, and the fact that we've managed to get the caliber of players that we have for that money. So yeah, if we were spending £5 million on drossy players and we were 14th, 15th, whatever, then that's ridiculous, and people would have a point. Not that we're spending money, but that we're wasting money. But we're not wasting money. So
no, absolutely. And as David rightfully points out, we have won nothing yet. And as the league table will tell you, we have won absolutely nothing yet. We are currently sitting in second place. The game in hand that everyone's been looking at coming up tomorrow night. We are 1 point ahead of Wednesday, 1 behind Plymouth. Plymouth are at home. I want to say to Shrewsbury, but I probably think that's wrong. Let me have a quick look at that.
Plymouth,
Bristol. Oh, it's Bristol Rovers, isn't it? Oh, never mind. They'll win that one.
Let's not forget that's a local derby-ish, local-ish. I mean,
local-ish. Yeah, but I saw a Rovers fan sort of post that he thought the team was on holiday already. So I don't know. It doesn't really matter.
Yeah.
Get me over the squiggly line. McSauceman, we're not just paying big fees for 30-year-old players that will need replacing in a season or two with no prospect of sellings or recovery costs. Chloe Land, we have a fantastic manager and owners who want to make the club work. So we've heard Luongo mentioned this evening. We've heard Morsey mentioned. We've heard Ladapo mentioned. Phil Blundell, who was a standout player. Oh, we've got Frank from Holland. I'll put you on after Phil. Frank, welcome in, my man. Phil, eagle-eyed referee in the house. Who stood out for you on Saturday? I'm sure you've seen the highlights. I'm sure you've seen you've consumed all of the club media that we've all consumed. Who's really looking good in a blue or red shirt for you at the moment?
It's so difficult to say right now. I mean, Walton, I think, deservedly got man of the match yesterday for his clean sheet performance. I think there were 2 or 3 really gilt-edged chances that Peterborough should have buried. They didn't, and Walton pulled off some very, very good saves indeed. And it's just so pleasing on the eye that we have a team that's pretty settled, that McKenna knows his best 11. We're not using 20, 25 players to work out who's best in what position. At this stage of the season, the team is one strong unit in whatever game that we're playing right now, home or away, especially away from home. I think it's been impressive for me. the last sort of half dozen 10 games for me, especially. And you can't really sort of pick sort of one consistent standout. Well, last season, it was pretty obvious who the standout performer for us was last season, and it was Burns on the right hand side. And this, I'm say he didn't have the best starts this season, but he's progressively refound that form from last term, and he's practically matched the goals and assists that he got last season. And it's just so difficult to pinpoint any one standout player from game to game. And you know what? I think that I cannot see for the life of me right now Town going up to Barnsley and losing. I cannot see Town losing tomorrow. And George, my message to you, my man, don't be nervous. Okay, don't be nervous. One or two of the things I was going to say, just listening to Mr. Parry there, I agree with pretty much everything what Steve has said. He's the voice of reason, and he talks so much sense when he voices opinions on here, and he's so right again this evening that between McKenna, his coaching staff, and Ashton, the recruitment for this season in particular has been absolutely spot on. We have spent money wisely. I mean, so you look at Leif Davis, he's going to follow in the footsteps of Cresswell and Mings for sure, for me. And so you look at the likes of Burns and Chaplin. I mean, say I wanted to mention about Chaplin on yesterday that when Chaplin was at Barnsley, he caught my eye, and it was because of the goals that he was scoring. Left, right, so he was all over the place. He works his socks off. He's a real workhorse, and he gets his goals. And I tell you what, he's the player now. He's the same player now than what he was when I saw him playing at Barnsley. Now I know that when he left Barnsley, he wasn't in a happy place, and that's going to really fire him up for tomorrow, just like maybe Norwood's going to be for them against us. And he was a player that I hugely admire when he was playing for Barnsley in that season. I can't remember how many goals he scored that particular season, but he was banging them in left, right, and centre. He was probably their strongest player then. And for some reason, ended up leaving. I wanted to talk about not the referee, on Saturday, but the performance of the players themselves. Okay, that Ladapo goal, he virtually had his back to goal. And it was pretty much instinctual that he just turned. It
really was,
and hit it. He didn't hit it very hard, but for me, just looking at that, it was just very instinctual, like a cat.
Goal don't move. Goal don't move, Phil.
I know it doesn't.
You know what I mean? So that's one of the things you taught as a striker. Goal don't move. So learn your angles, learn your positioning on the
exactly.
Goal don't move.
That's how keepers learn their triangles when they're closing down like one-on-ones, from whatever angle the players, the attackers come from. That's how they work it.
Absolutely. Phil, can I ask something? Because you said to George, "Don't be nervous," and I love the confidence. I love it. Sheffield Wednesday, they trundled up to Barnsley full of confidence, not being beaten in 20-odd games. They walked away with a fat lip and have never been the same team since. What gives you the confidence that Town are not going to go up to Oakwood tomorrow, lay something on the pitch, and then have a wobble the way Wednesday have had a wobble with little time to rescue it? What gives you the confidence that we're not going to suffer that fate?
I think that particular night they didn't. Wednesday were without Byers and Windass.
I think they were.
Yeah,
but
they were. Okay.
Weeks they've wobbled. They've gone into it confidence, and Barnsley were the kryptonite.
Yeah,
what gives you the confidence, Phil?
I think the standout confidence is what I've seen what Michael Duff was saying in his pre-match comments, and he was saying he's got a fully fit squad to choose from. He doesn't have a single injury concern or suspension in his squad going into this game tomorrow. And you know what he said? He says, that gives me a real worry, a real bad headache, he said, because he doesn't know what his best 11, but McKenna knows what his best 11 is with Ipswich. He knows his strongest 11.
Finally.
And believe you me, we are going to be ready for them tomorrow. Okay. This could be an absolute epic. It could be a high-scoring 3-3, or it could be one of those real end-of-season spectacular games that both teams are going at it, heavyweight to heavyweight, and we're going to see plenty of goals. I hope not. I think Barnsley will come at us like a battering ram. They will want if they. I'm saying it's unlikely that they will finish in the top 2 berths. So for them, it's important psychologically for them to go into this game to show the rest of the league what they've got going into the playoffs. Because if they don't finish in the top 2, which probably they won't now, they want to be the informed team going into those playoffs. They will want to beat us tomorrow, and I'm pretty sure that there's going to be a lot of aggression in the game for me. I've seen the way Barnsley played against Plymouth. There is a slight concern that us and Plymouth play the same way of playing out from the back, and those Barnsley attackers, they put a lot of pressure very quickly on the 2 centre backs, not leaving any space in that central quadrant where Morsey and Luongo will be operating, and they will press high up the pitch really quickly. So that will then leave space behind. I'm saying Barnsley will probably make the same mistake as what other attacking teams have done. We were more intelligent against Derby. We hit them on the counter and scored an awesome counter-attack goal. When Chapman slotted that ball, that pass from Broadhead to Burns and then Burns on, that's the type of goal that I'm expecting us to score tomorrow, if I'm being honest.
Okay.
Yeah,
Perfect.
and also Barnsley leave space behind. And just one last thing I wanted to mention to George. I remember 20-odd years ago watching a certain playoff semi-final leg in what was Division 1 between Birmingham and Barnsley, played at St Andrews, and Trevor Francis was the manager then.
He was.
And the second leg was at St Andrews. Now, if I remember rightly, the first leg, I think, ended level, like 1-1, 2-2 or something like that. And the game eventually went to penalties. Now, something happened. I think it was either just before the end of the extra time or just after, where the referee was trying to decide what end to have the penalties at. It worked out that when he tossed his coin, the end that was chosen for the penalties was the end where the Barnsley fans were, and Trevor Francis, he just lost it. He just lost it completely. I think at one point he took all the players off, and had a bit of a delay.
Phil, I can't remember 20 minutes ago, let alone 20 years ago.
I've got to say, but my point is, right, over those 2 legs, Barnsley obviously played well enough to get through. But the biggest difference for me that season is that the pace of the Town team was quick. I mean, the players that Burley brought in, the way that he got the team playing is that he got us playing at a quick pace. And I knew, as a 17-year-old then, going into that playoff final against Wembley, I knew we'd beat Barnsley simply because of the pace of the way we play football. And I think, in a certain way, tomorrow it's going to be a bit like that. Yes, we've got players with pace. Okay, we are a much improved team since we last played them in August. Okay, they're also an improved team, but there's like an air of confidence about. I'm saying the way that I'm talking right now, I'm confident, George.
Yeah, we can hear. We can certainly hear it. Certainly, can.
Okay,
and
I'm up for this. If I was someone being involved in this game, I'd be right up for it. And I'm thinking that these players are going to be up for it tomorrow. And I just think it's that same air of confidence I had watching that Barnsley Birmingham playoff semi-final. That the obvious difference for me is the way, the pace of the game that we played, and we are a strong unit. And yes, I can see us conceding, tomorrow because Barnsley. I think Barnsley won the last 9 home games or something.
They have.
Yeah.
Hang on, I've got something for you here. Equal a record since I believe 1914-15 season.
Right, so they're having absolute Barnes. This game is going to be so good. I think from a neutral point of view, and I'll be watching on the iFollow because I've got
good man. Well, I'll see you in a post-game show then, right?
Yes.
Good man. Phil,
I've
got Frank waiting.
Yeah, just before I go, okay.
He started a 21-year-old man and now he's 55, so we've got to move it.
Right, we're going to pop the champagne on Saturday. It's going to happen. We're going to go up there, get what we need tomorrow, and come back here and be extra, and we'll be celebrating come 5 o'clock Saturday afternoon.
Good man. Love you, Phil. Appreciate it. Before we bring Phil on, just to add on to Phil's point there, George, away record for us, 1.9 points a game plus 16 away goal difference. We've got nothing to fear, have we not?
No, we haven't. And just to be really clear, I have no fear. I'm just naturally nervous, and I don't believe anyone that says they're not. So, I don't think we have, but equally, Barnsley haven't, and I don't think the players are going to be particularly nervy going into it. And that's not what I'm suggesting by any stretch of imagination. I think it'll be a cracking game. And who knows what will come out of it, but I don't think we've got any reason to go there and fear Barnsley particularly. But it's more the season. It's more just where we're at in the season. It's not the game particularly. It's just we're 10 days away from what could be even Saturday could be pretty phenomenal day, couldn't it? And
it will be. It will be.
Those of us that were there at the old Wembley on that day, like I've spoken to this point a couple of times over the last week, and I think since that day I've said that was the best day of my life. And people remind me that I got married once and I've got a kid, and I don't need reminding of either of those things. It's still pretty much the best day of my life. So we're and Saturday. We'll be right up there if all things go our way. So I think, that's more where I'm nervous for, just the situation.
Good man. We are currently 22 hours and 32 minutes away from the big kickoff. Duffy calling us statistically the best in League One history today. Frank, welcome in. How are you?
Yeah, fine, thank you. And I apologise for yesterday, but I was struggling to find a link, and when we were communicating, I was thinking, what the hell? I really would like to get involved. It's a great show.
Thank you.
It's great to get fans on board, and I think it's a wonderful way of expressing our love affair with Ipswich Town, which for me is 55 years, man. So it's a long time.
And that was just listening to Phil. We love Phil with all goodwill in the world, but he calls us statistically the best League One team in history. Is he blowing smoke a little bit towards us? Is that true, Frank? How do you see this? You've seen a lot of football with Ipswich Town. How do you see this side?
Obviously, I haven't seen much of League One football until very.
You're a lucky man, Frank. don't think you're not for 1 minute.
And I was spoiled on the 70s and the great Ipswich Town side that we had then. But I think it's very close. I think somebody pointed out today that the only way you could categorically say that it's the best League One team in its history is if we get promoted. And we're still a few notches away from that, let's be honest. Within spitting distance, as that Peterborough supporter might have suggested. Maybe he was trying to tell us something, but not quite there yet. And I am nervous about tomorrow, but not as nervous now as I was prior to the Peterborough game, because that was critical. I think that we got something from it. I was thinking we'd probably get a draw. I wasn't looking really at a win, and then I changed my mind, change of heart about 24 hours before kickoff. And what a performance! What a team performance that was! It was absolutely wonderful to watch.
Yeah. What about it gave you or excited you the most about the team performance? Because obviously there's lots of standout performers, but collectively a good side. What gave you the most heart going into obviously a big game tomorrow night?
I think just the form that Town are in at the moment. I mean, 16 games undefeated, winning 12 of the last 13, and it's just an extraordinary run. The risk is that every bubble will eventually blow, and we just have to hope. This is my wife here, by the way, rung, because she's to Louis at Portman Road. Gave him a big hug, or the other way around, not too sure. But she's predicting 2-2 tomorrow, and I actually think, although she always seems to predict 2-2, I have a feeling she might be right. And I would take that actually 2-2. I would take 1-1, 2-2, a draw, but not to lose, because I think it's two reasons why that's so critical. One, we have momentum, the most underused or abused word in football, momentum. I mean, if you have that, you have everything. You really need momentum to go anywhere. And I think Ipswich have it. And I think if we progress to the Championship, that momentum will hopefully continue. That's the way I see it. I don't know what you think on the subject.
George?
In terms of what score tomorrow? What I'd say,
As in, and the momentum that you take in from one campaign to the next.
Yeah, of course. Yeah, I think if we do go up, I think this was mentioned on the Wrath of the Barkley post that you so eloquently read out earlier, Garth. Good. I think that is a big factor is the momentum that we take from this season into next. Either way, we need to make sure that whatever happens, we continue that momentum, and if I'm going to call the worst happens at this point, we just make sure that next season is the 100 points, 100 goals season that this season wasn't quite, if that's how it works out. Whatever it is, we will have all of the momentum behind us. We just need to make sure that our heads don't drop at any level.
And I think we'll have, I'm sorry, George, I think we'll have the squad together as well, if that's the case. And that would be encouraging, because I think the fusion that's there in the Ipswich Town squad at the moment, right from defence, the solidity of the back line, midfield, Massimo Luongo, he's performed more than admirably since he came in. I mean, I think I heard you talking about it yesterday, and I suggested give him a 3-year contract, and then someone said, well, look, he's had knee problems, give him 6 months or something. But I think he certainly deserves a contract. There's no doubt about that. And I think it would be crazy not to give him one at the end of this season. I can't see it happening. It's just about how long that will be. And Nathan Broadhead, even George Hurst. I mean, it could be an irony. We could have Everton and Leicester playing in the Championship against Ipswich next season. And then we'd have Nathan Broadhead playing against his old club, and maybe George Hurst playing for us against Leicester. So, it's just an amazing situation, and we should enjoy every single moment of it, because it really is special. I've often said, will I still be around when Ipswich make it to the Premiership? I'm relatively fit at the moment, but the last few weeks, well, I've been knocking back the alcohol. It's really got the better of me. But I have to say that there is now a real possibility that I will live to see the day when Ipswich are in the top flight of
you certainly will. You're getting lots of love in the live chat. So comments like this, Frank, Tony B, it's the famous Frank from the phone-ins. So we're taking a little bit of departure here from the show notes I've written. TJ will get to you very shortly, but because one man wants to be on because you're on, it's like a Radio Suffolk reunion party.
There he is. How you doing, Frank?
Fine, thank you. I really do exist, you see. It isn't a figment of your imagination.
See, I just tuned in, Gov. I got your WhatsApp message. I literally just got in from football, and there's the voice that I've heard on Radio Suffolk for absolute years, and now I can put a face to it. It's brilliant.
Hey, how did your kid do tonight? I know you were saying you were taking your kid to football, wasn't it, this evening?
No. I'm taking him out of school tomorrow.
Oh, right.
Don't worry.
Okay.
We're on a road trip, Frank, tomorrow to Barnsley. Why does Archie have to come out of school? We're going to Barnsley. We need to leave early.
Are you actually going to tell him, are you? It's not, you're just
I told him the truth, George. I haven't lied. I said he's going to Barnsley. We need to leave early. And they're like, I don't know if he'll be authorised. Well, I'll be picking him up at 2:50. Thank you very much.
What time are you leaving?
Educational, Frank.
Of course it is.
There'll be a fair few dental appointments and visits to doctors over Tuesday.
Is Governor you coming?
No, I love to go. We're actually, I living in the Netherlands a little bit more difficult, and sadly my wife is pretty sick with Alzheimer's, so we can't always go from A to B as often as we'd like. Having said that, I'm going actually to a wedding in Chester, but that was pre-arranged over this weekend. But my love affair with Ipswich has gone on for 58 years. It's wow. As strong as ever. And, there's been many more rainy days and sunny ones over that period of time. But when the sun shines, the best pair of sunglasses can't keep the sun out. That's the way I see it.
We need to get Frank to the statue next season, and we need to get Frank to get over to Colin's shed. You need to come over and see Colin's shed. You would absolutely love it.
Well, there's a guy in Ipswich called Richard Brummett, and he's got a converted shed he's made into a little bar with all the Ipswich logos and everything on it, and he's serving behind the bar in his back garden, spirits and beer and everything. It's wonderful. I love going there. So the next time
I want to know how did you find the podcast, Frank?
Well, it was partly by accident. I was just going through and it said live stream, and that was yesterday, wasn't it? Sunday. And I thought to myself, wow, this is great. I really like the interaction between you all, the fact that you're all dedicated Ipswich Town followers. And I feel like this is a wonderful fraternity. It's a wonderful little community that you've got going there. So I applaud you massively for your endeavours, all of you.
Yes,
wait till we lose a few. It can get feisty.
Gets a bit lively.
Mostly from him.
Yeah,
right, while I've got you both, score predictions before we bring TJ in. Rich, your score prediction for tomorrow?
Well, I did say when we played Wickham, Governor, I think we had 8 games to go. We'd win 6 and draw 2. And I did have Barnsley down as a draw. So I'll be a little bit negative and I'll go 1-1. But I think we can win the game. But would I take a draw? I probably would. But look, it'd be lovely if we could win tomorrow night and then obviously wrap it up at Portman Road on Saturday. That would be perfect, wouldn't it?
Good man. Frank?
Yeah, well, Rung is like you because she's going for a 2-2 draw. So 2 draws on the board. And just to be different, I can't say I lost. So I've got to say Ipswich win 2-1.
Love it. Love it. Frank, everyone wants you to be a regular, so make sure you click that link again. Come on very soon. Look after yourself. We really appreciate it.
All right, appreciated too.
All the best. Thanks ever so much. And cheers, Rich. Appreciate you coming on.
What a guy, Frank. Nunny's great as well. Don't worry. But
it's all right. I'll just
sit
here and
I had to pop on and see Frank and just I wanted to see what he looked like as well. Because it's like you know when you hear somebody and you wonder what they look like, don't you? It's like for so long. Anyway, hopefully I'll speak to you tomorrow night. Go send me the link tomorrow night and I'll try and pop on after the game, mate.
Certainly will. Look after yourself.
Yeah, all right. See you later, boys.
We just need optimistic Dave now, but apparently he's been friends with Mike Brown, so he's now known as pessimistic Dave. But great evening so far. Right, TJ, welcome in, my man. How are you?
I'm all right, mate, till I had that joke of yours.
I know, it was awful, wasn't it? I had it brewing all evening. Barnsley in 4th. They're a juggernaut the same way we are. They're on fire. You confident?
Yeah, I feel all right about it. I was more wary towards the Posh game, and now that's out of the way and we did what we did. I'm quite calm about it. So I think I'll sleep very well tonight.
Oh, well.
Yeah, should be fun. I think it'll be fun more than anything. I'm kind of along the same lines. I think we'll get a draw out of it in the end, but I won't be too upset with that. I'm just more looking forward to the occasion, and I think we've got more than enough to do it in the end.
I won't sleep. It's like a countdown clock to the old Millennium Bug. 22 hours, 21 minutes. I can't keep looking at it now. I can't stop. I've been doing some trawling, boys, through Barnsley media, podcasts, Twitter, forums, and I've come up with my own little form of wipeout, all right? I used to love Bob Monkhouse's wipeout. I've got some topics on the board. I want you to tell me which one you want. I'll give you a little bit about it, and then you can tell me what they're talking, or if they're talking sense or not. TJ?
Let's go for slow.
Slow. All right. They were slow against Oxford. They were slow out of the traps in their previous game against Oxford. Can they afford to be slow out of the traps this time, TJ, or will Town murder them if they are?
They can't afford to be slow. Absolutely not. But I just hope that there's enough in the tank after Saturday, because that was intense. Like, it was a warmer day as well, comparatively. It's going to be a cold one, I think, in Barnsley tomorrow. So, yeah, if we can keep our energy levels high, maybe get the subs on maybe a bit earlier if we're flagging, I think we could do it. But, yeah, we can't. They can't afford to be slow, but neither can we. So, got to be careful.
All right. George, you've got Broadhoot and Slow gone. What do you want now?
Records.
Forget the records in a game like this. They count for absolutely nothing. Would you agree with that? Do the stats to the records go out the window the moment the first minute's being played? Or do they really count for something?
I don't think they go out the window, but I think they almost cancel themselves out. Like, if you look at our records at the moment, comparatively, they're pretty similar. So I don't think you can really go by, like, neither looks better than the other, particularly to me at the moment. They've scored a hatful of goals and won a hatful of games at home over the last couple of months, and we've done the same everywhere. So I don't think the records are anything that we should worry too much. Their record is anything we should worry too much about. And I think we're at that point of the season anyway, where like with Peterborough, I guess we were more concerned than maybe we needed to be, but I think they more or less cancelled themselves out.
Okay. All right. Perfect. TJ, over to you. You've got failure, a goal machine, lethal form.
Let's go for goal machine.
Connor Chaplin, goal machine, immense for Town this year. Is he the secret weapon? Well, not so much the secret, but is he the weapon tomorrow that could really be the key to unlocking Barnsley?
Anyone can up top, to be honest. It's one of the three behind Hurst are going to do it. But yeah, Chaplin, 22, 23 goals. Yeah, absolutely. He can do a lot of damage to them. He'll do a lot more up front than Norwood will for Barnsley.
Oh, okay. He's gone there early. Lethal form or failure?
Go on, failure.
George. Failure. Investment significant failure to finish inside the top two will be failure itself. Do you agree with that?
Say again. They're suggesting
Failure to finish inside the top two will be failure itself.
for us.
Mm-hmm.
No, I don't think so. I mean, I think we've done so well to get to the position that we're in over the last couple of months. Like from this position, you could argue, I guess, that it's in our hands to throw it away. But I think to call this season a failure, whether we finish second or third, would be a mistake if you look at it in the cold light of day, based on where we finished last season and how good we've been over the last few months. So I wouldn't buy into that. Painful, it will be painful, but I don't think it'll be a failure.
Okay, perfect. And I'll ask you the same question actually, TJ, to finish. That I won't argue for the last of it. Is it failure if we don't finish on the top two?
Not the top two. Failure to get promoted will be a failure, but top two, no, because there's still more chance for us to do it.
Would you start with George Hurst up front again tomorrow? You mentioned him there a second ago. I'm assuming you would.
Absolutely, yeah. I think we've got the right way round at the minute. That it should be Hurst up top and Freddie off the bench. It's way more effective than the Port Vale game. Granted, it was a low block, but yeah, Hurst has got to start. He's got to bully defenders, and I think he does it very well for us. Next
year, I'm going to get a big red shiny button. Every time I hear the jazzy words of low block, high block, all the new words, I'm going to smash it. And it's suddenly going to go, sirens going off, everyone going, yeah. And then there's going to be a real, what we mean is, they sat in and did naffle. Which is what Port Vale did until they scored. And then they sat even further back into the Churchman stand. All right. TJ, you're confident tomorrow? Are you really confident, or is it a fake bravado that you're putting on for the sake of not really wanting to give in to your true feelings of, oh my God, I'm shitting it?
Nah, I'm confident. I'm not crapping it at all or anything like that. Like I said, Posh game I was more nervous for, but we just talked about records there. What we did at Posh, we haven't done before. With winning on Sky, we're beating all these teams away. I don't really fear anyone. I just think Barnsley will be a tougher test than other teams that we've played recently. Hope I'm wrong. But yeah, I've absolutely no need to worry, I think. So yeah, happy days.
Perfect. Score prediction?
2-2.
Good man. 2-2. I'll take that. George.
Yeah.
Score prediction.
I'm going to go 1-2 Town.
I'll take it. Take it. Is it just a simple case, TJ, of just not losing, just walking out of there tomorrow as you were, if anything?
It's not the end. I mean, a draw is almost the same as a loss at this stage of the season. If we're 2 points ahead, if we're 1 point ahead, our goal difference still beats it. 2 points, they still need to win Wednesday. So I don't really see it. I'd say just go for it and see what happens. A loss doesn't mean we're out of the race. It's still on our hands. So I just hope. I'm sure we will, but yeah, just absolutely go for it. Fans included, like everyone who's going tomorrow, just absolutely give them hell. Have a good time.
Love it. All right. Well, we're live tomorrow. We'll do a pre-game show tomorrow because it's such a big game. And of course, live on the minute the full time whistle goes, we'll be live with a fans reaction. Live link as always to get involved and have your say the moment the referee has blown his whistle. But he is the lovely big fish, Tom James. Thank you very much, Tom, for popping in and seeing us. That is the designer, George Nunn. I am the Gov. This is Talking Town. Hit the like, subscribe, and we'll see you tomorrow. Sleep well.
You make me smile when I think of you. If I get down, knowing that you're blue, I can't get enough. You make me happy, I feel so fine. Oh, how I wish that you were mine. sweat, with chills running down my neck. I thought went crazy from just the thought of you.